Alrighty. Well, we have recording, so we're going to do our little audio thing and we'll get started. How's that?
Knock yourself out.
Here we go.
Streaming live via the internet. Welcome to ISP Radio, your weekly source for ISP-related news, events, and interviews with industry experts. If you deliver internet via fiber optic, wireless, coax, or any other way, you're in the right place. Chat live with us weekly via ispradio.com every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time. And now a brief word from our sponsors. Link Technologies, providing ISP consulting, support, and hardware for wireless ISPs. TowerCoverage.com, providing online RF coverage maps. And now your host for ISP Radio, Steve Grabiel and Dennis Burgess.
Welcome to another edition of ISP Radio. I'm your host, Steve Grabiel, broadcasting from Moriarty, New Mexico. Another day in paradise out here. Going to be mid to late 70s. That's crazy out here in the high desert. Usually it's in the low to mid 60s. But we're enjoying it, taking advantage of it. This is our WISP America recap show, and Dennis is broadcasting the show. Sounds like he came down with a cold at the show
Yes.
from St. Louis. So, Dennis, how you feeling? And did you guys come back to a fine running network, or did you have problems when you came back from WISP America?
Oh, no. We did. We had a fine network. Everything worked fine there. But yeah, I think it was just allergies there. But yeah, it was, WISP America is always a good time. There's definitely not a problem with it. We definitely kept busy. How's that? Lots and lots and lots of new people at this show. Lots of people that are starting WISPs, that are starting their wireless ISPs, that are interested in starting wireless ISPs. So that's really, really good. I mean, that's really good for the industry that we get so many new people that are interested in starting up. A couple quick things here. First off, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Micronet, as well as Advanced LLC. They were not mentioned on our little intro. We'll have to get that updated as well. Next week we have Janelle Trigg with Lerman Center. She's going to be talking about the privacy policy. And then looks like we have Micronet Communications. Jeremy is going to come on the week after that, so that's the 5th. So lots of great shows coming up. Overall at WISP America, there was quite a bit discussed. I think overall it was really good. I don't think that there's anything that stands out as far as new products or awesome new services, etc., that really jumps out at me. That doesn't mean necessarily that there wasn't those types of things, but I don't remember of any of them, if that makes sense. So, we're kind of left with what's going on. The CBRS band is always interesting. For those of you that don't know, the CBRS band is the 3550 to 3700 band. And what WISPA has been doing is they have been positioning us with WinForum to be able to have a licensed light system that we can subscribe to, and we can get access to that, but also while protecting the incumbents as well. So that's really, really good information for the most part. Steve, you got something else?
Yeah, so my mole there. Well, to start off, what was the success of the show? Attendance and vendors? Was it a growth from last year? I mean, do you guys have the final tally?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there was over 830 members there.
Wow.
So lots and lots of members. Really good stuff for the most part. The sold out the exhibit hall, huge exhibit hall. Really good show. I guess really going back to the CBRS band. There is actually a fairly large band above the CBRS band, so 3700 up to like 4.2 gig. That is fairly lightly used by the U.S. military, and there is some action on trying to get that to be rolled into the CBRS. For those of you that don't know, the CBRS is, as I said before, is the 3550 to the 3650 band. And what we're going to have is we're going to have up to 70 megahertz, so 7 channels, 7 to 10 megahertz channels that are what we call PAL licenses, and PAL are priority access licenses. And those licenses are going to be auctioned off on a per census tract basis. So all of a sudden, we as operators are going to have a low-cost fixed wireless band that we can actually license in. Now, if you are not using that band, so if you actually operate a PAL, and you are not using that band in that area, there are also GAA, General Access Licenses, that is free for everybody, but you must report to the database. You must say, hey, I'm here, etc. And that will be free. So if you go out and you get two 20 megahertz channels, so that's 40 megahertz. Now, that does not mean you are set in stone on which channels, which frequencies. You just have 40 megahertz of frequency. That's the maximum that any one company can have in a census tract. Okay? So with that said, if you are not operating, anybody else can use it. If you are operating, you will be given your channels as needed from the SAS database. But then, like I said, this is really kind of the U.S.'s first rollout into using a database to create and authorize access to licensed and unlicensed spectrum. This could have the potential for us to have, who knows how much more spectrum that is being held by the U.S. military, the U.S. government, etc., that we can have access to in the rural areas to operate on. So it's very, very important that, first off, the 3550 through 3560 band is not open. Do not use it. Do not get on it. It's actually really bad, or it would be really bad for us is if people started using it. So don't use it yet. It's not licensed yet. It's not available yet. However, whenever it becomes available, make sure you use the SAS database to get your equipment registered and use those frequencies. Very, very good stuff. Pretty much every LTE vendor, every 365 vendor has said that they're going to use SAS, but the database isn't even created yet. As far as auctions go, those auctions are probably going to be late next year. That's my take. They have not made the database yet. They have not defined the database. They have not defined how it's going to work. However, we do have WISPA is at the table of WinForm, and that's creating those standards. So it's very, very good stuff overall.
I mean, we've been talking about the CBRS for quite a while and this idea of the database. So from what you gained from the show is that it's forthcoming, but just take a little bit more time.
Yeah, I mean we can't sit there and state that. We're hoping that the GAA will be available, the database will be available late this year, 2017. Once the database is available, then they can start forming the rules for the auctions, which will probably start happening late this year, early next year, and then hopefully the auctions will start up next year, late next year. So we don't know. It was mentioned that the FCC had decided that they were going to do a how can I put it? That they were going to do a eBay type auction. I don't know if that's the case. That system has not been built. It has not been defined yet. So all that has to get done before those licenses can go to auction. In our area, our census tracts, we have about 3 census tracts. We don't know who's going to bid on it. We don't know how many people is going to bid on it. We don't know anything yet. We also think that the CBRS is going to make the EBS band, which is the 2.5 band, those licenses much less valuable, or it has a potential of doing that. Because, again, that is another band that we could use the CBRS SAS system for. So, again, it's there's still a lot up in the air. We don't know. But
it might sweep the 2.5 into that as well. That would be cool.
Right, but I mean we don't know yet. There's too much out there. There's a lot of spectrum available. How we're gonna get it, don't know. How's that? Chairman Pai, he is definitely a proponent of the won the radio show, but also WISPA. So overall, it should be a really good thing. But until we
Right.
actually get it, until it actually becomes useful, I can't sit there and tell you too terribly much. And plus, there's reverse auctions going in the TV white space band, things like that. That has been keeping the FCC busy.
Right. Right. So tell me a little bit about the show. What did you teach any classes, or did you give any speeches?
So I did several. I did 3 speeches, or 3 presentations. I should rephrase that. I did a network security and DDoS attack panel. That was very, very well attended. Actually, there was a lot of people in there that I did not know, and that's really good. So that's number one. I also did a RF design panel, pretty light on the technicals, just an overview. And then I also did a towercoverage.com panel as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there was some issues with, well, I can say it really wasn't an issue. It was just brought up that we had, that WISPA had put up signs that said there was no video or audio recording of the presenters. And Mike Hammett with the Brothers Wisps kind of balked about that. And we let them say their spiel, but in the end, it's really difficult to offer those videos for free. It was suggested that maybe we set up one room, and one room is any presenter can sign away their rights there by presenting there. But the big problem that we have is at Wispapalooza in Vegas. It's almost $6,000 a room per day to get a audio and video engineer in there to do a proper recording. So it gets pretty pricey, and that's going to be really hard for us to make up. $6,000 if you're selling the videos for $100, big whoop you do. And then there's also questions and concerns about people who attended the show but didn't get to attend those classes. To be honest with you, if you attended another class, obviously you made your choice. That's my opinion, but it's a difficult situation, and we're still working out the bugs. We're still listening to feedback, but we'll see how it all works out.
I mean, you at the last Wispapalooza, you were streamed.
The president's speech.
Yeah, the president's speech. Was that a big deal, or we're talking about the individual classes?
Right, we're talking about the individual classes and things like that. So, while I would definitely think as a vendor, it's probably a good thing. It gets us out on YouTube. It gets us out and our presence known. Overall, it's a very difficult task to pay $5-6 for the videos, and then you still have to do post processing.
Right.
So you still have to bring the videos back. You still have to put the logo on them. You still have to do all that processing, and then once that's done, now you actually have something that you can do. Now, do you put that on YouTube? And then if you don't put it on YouTube, now here's a whole other ballgame. How do you control access to it? So how do you say, hey, WISPA members can view it only? That gets very difficult to ask. And then on top of that, you have to have a streaming server to be able to offer those videos.
Right.
So it's not like it's not like you can just sit there and again, if you're going to make the videos public, you put them on YouTube and it's done, just like we do here. And and everybody has access to it. There's no storage costs. There's no associated costs. But with that, by securing access to it, it does cost. So again, is that really what WISPA is about? Is WISPA about that? And in the end, WISPA is a lobbying organization. So the end result really is we should be lobbying. We should be spending our money lobbying for the WISP industry and advocating for the WISP industry, not spending money to give a video recording for somebody that didn't attend a session because they had too many good sessions.
Right.
Send another person, or you'll have to pick up your choice of what you want to do.
Yeah, and I mean these breakout sessions are pretty much offered almost every trade show, I think.
Yeah, and there's usually two, the FCC update. There was 2 of those. There's 2 of quite a few, but not everything. And I understand, hey, I want to get the most for my money, but then again, you have to make your choice of what you wish to watch. And if you chose something else and you did not get to go to that session, you should not be able to get to record that session and watch it later.
Exactly.
So I think at the WISP America, we have Animal Farm. And Animal Farm is a vendor presentation.
High level, right?
Well, no, it's actually pretty deep. It can get pretty deep as well. But the question was, could we video that? And I think the opportunity for Mike Hammett and those types of people to publish those videos are perfectly fine as long as the vendor approves and signs off on it. You know what I'm saying? So, and then there's other sessions like the regulatory tracks, things like that we do not want recorded because it does contain some private information. Some of our not necessarily marketing material, but some of our advocacy material and things like that is covered inside there, and it's probably not the best thing to broadcast that live over the internet, if you know what I'm saying.
Right. Give the big telcos the heads up.
Exactly. So, it's a difficult situation, but I'm sure we will pretty much get through it. I'm sure we'll probably make one session available for recording, or we'll make sessions available for recording, or something like that. I'm sure the board will discuss it, and as we are already, we just haven't came up to a good decision yet.
Mm-hmm.
What is good for the industry, what is good for the trade show, and what is good, because I do know other trade shows that have published videos, and then once they publish those videos, their trade show attendance dropped. Why should I?
Yeah, exactly.
Why should I attend it if I can
just watch all the videos?
Right, if I can watch all the videos. So, while I don't think that would happen, it is possible. And then I sit there and go, why should we even take the risk of that happening? Mm-hmm. So regardless to say, we will have something before WISPapalooza, but what that will be, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, it does. If you snooze, you lose.
Right,
like I said, if you wanted to see two sessions at the same time, you should have brought two people. Yeah. I have no beef with that.
Yeah. So, there was a buy-sells training course on Monday. Yeah, Monday. I did take that. Oop, there we go. I did take that, and it was perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with it, if that makes sense. It was definitely a high-level review. They said, here's some of our new products. Here's some of our new services. They are going to come out with a 2-watt base station in 365. It's a dual carrier, so you can run 2 antennas at full power if you wish to. That's always a good thing. Less gear up on the tower. But overall, they really talked about some antenna manufacturers, and talked about several other things. But other than that, there's really not that much going on. I'm just trying to think of.
Any talk about the Ubiquiti Airfiber 11 and where that's been coming?
Well, I mean, it's already out.
Well, no, I know it's out there, but there's some intrinsic issues with it. I was just wondering if there was any discussions of those.
I did not attend the WISP the Animal Farm session with Ubiquiti, so I could not sit there and tell you what did or did not occur. Mimosa definitely released their GPS sync on their products. It's still too early to tell if that's working or not, but I do also note that Ubiquiti just released their Gen 2 products, which still supposedly have GPS sync. Time will tell on that as well, but I mean, they went through 3 product lines that they had GPSs that GPS sync didn't work on it, so I don't know why they would be any different on their product 2 on their 4th gen, but you never know.
Was the Mimosa GPS sync purely software, or is it a hardware?
No, it's a hardware GPS sync. I mean, they always track GPS satellites and all that kind of stuff. They get the GPS sync from there. So they had that. They definitely had some problems at the beginning, but they worked through that, and that's where they're at right now. They've released it. Where it's going to go from there, I can't sit there and tell you.
Like I said, time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, time will tell, and that's what I told them. I'm like, until we really get some good feedback, I can't sit there and recommend the product until then. But I'm sure that people will start using it, and Evan over in Illinois, XL Broadband, he uses it very extensively, but he uses it in the micropop environment, and that's fine for Illinois. What we call flatlander country. Where you have a town or you have a subdivision that has 200 houses with no trees in it, right next to Mount Overpass, which is right next to Lake Overpass because they had to dig out the earth to actually make the overpass. So over here in Missouri, we do have micropops, but they're not that big. We have 5, 6, 7 customers off of a micropop, and a Microtech with an OmniTick or a sectorized Microtech works just as good. There's no interference. You're down in a valley typically, so you're typically pretty good on that. Or you're aiming into the valley, so you're not aiming into space to cause interference, that type of stuff. So,
right. Was there a fiber optic training or anything like that at the show?
There was a fiber optic training after the show. I do not remember. I think Baltic gave it, but I do not remember who gave it. So I did not attend that as well.
Right.
So
was there talk about WISPapalooza and the new format going Monday through Friday?
Yeah. We definitely talked about that. The president mentioned it, as well as Nathan Stoke, who's the chairman of the agenda committee. At the show ending, they actually gave a timetable. Here's what the timetable is, all that kind of good stuff. So one of the big things in that is originally we were flying in on Friday night and leaving, usually Wednesday or Thursday. And Friday night or Friday is typically the most expensive day you could possibly fly into Vegas on.
Right.
Now we're going to be coming in on Sunday, which is typically when everybody's leaving. So by you coming in, you usually get a less expensive flight. And then we're leaving on Saturday, which again is probably one of the least busiest days to leave on. So the flight should also become cheaper for people to bring more people as well.
Same with the room rates.
The room rates with us going to 5 days, we're going to guarantee a little bit more rooms, so the rate should be about the same, if not cheaper.
Oh, okay.
So, but you should be able to get the rate for the entire week that you're there.
Any positive feedback from the attendees at WISP America about that? I think it's a pretty darn good idea.
I think the feedback is good. I don't know how well it's going to work. It is a first-time trial thing, so we have to try it and figure it out. But we have been informing the WISPA members to tell them how it's been going, how they're going to do it, and such. So until such time as we actually do it and it actually works really well, there's a lot of forethought that's being put into it. So I think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah. How did WISP Pack do? Did you talk to those folks?
Yeah. So I went to the WISP Pack on Wednesday. It was cold out. I think it was 20 degrees outside, and we're on a riverboat on the river. It was a great event. The WISP Pack actually ended up raising over $21,000.
Wow.
So that's a really good fundraising event for the WISP Pack for the beginning of the year. It was a very nice event. They had band. They had some food and stuff like that. It was a really, really nice event. I think it lasted from 7:30 to about 9:30 or 9. So it was a short cruise, but it was very nice. I went outside and I took a picture, and I promptly went back inside because it was really cold. So,
any talk of the Advocacy Day in D.C. for WISPA?
They are planning a Advocacy Day. They pretty much have. I forgot what they call it. It's not called Advocacy. It's called something else now. I forgot what they call it. But there is one that's being planned. They are getting. It's called WISPA Fixed Wireless Day. There you go. And they're definitely getting a number of WISP manufacturers, as well as a few select WISPs together to get up there and take a look at that and to get in front of the DC constituents and educate them on what a WISP is.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely a little bit more targeted, but should be a really good event.
Right. what else happened at the show? Anything of significance? Oh, Animal Farm. Where I've never been to it before, but what is it? It's like all the manufacturers get together and talk high-level talks about their product with the engineers.
Typically, they go. They typically it's a technical deep dive into their products. At the old Animal Farm, when Chuck was running it, he would sit there and he would. The vendors would come up and they would present their new products. They would present their timelines, their estimates, all that kind of good stuff, and then they would take lots of questions, technical questions. And WISPA has basically purchased the rights to use Animal Farm and is now putting on the Animal Farm show in the WISP America event. And that's basically all it is it gives everybody time to come in and listen to the manufacturer spiels, as well as ask questions as needed. So,
were there any bake-offs? Are you guys going to be doing that anymore?
No. To my knowledge, we are not doing any bake-offs. Nothing that has been officially sanctioned anyway.
So we've got the MUM coming up in Denver.
I
signed up for it. It's dirt cheap.
It comes up in what is it, May? May.
Yeah.
May 24th
weekend before Memorial Day.
Yeah, May 25th and 26th. So I got that on my my calendar, and I will be there. So should be a good event.
I hadn't been there in the America one since 2010. Has that show grown larger and larger, like WISP Blues and WISP America?
I don't think that they really track the number of people. I mean, they have the number of registrations, but the registrations are not really a good method. Last year in Dallas, it was a well attended event. So it turned out pretty good, but I can't sit there and tell you that it's more than 2007 or 2008 or anything like that. I mean, I guess it probably would be, but I can't sit there and tell you.
Yeah.
So the U.S. market is actually really interesting for Microtech, and we look at this with Ubiquity as well, is that the U.S. market is really just a small market. We have the most regulation, and we have the small a significant small number of people that complain a lot. I hate to say it. So what we end up getting is lots of people that sit there and complain, and they say, oh, we have all this regulation, you need to help us out with it, all that kind of stuff. But yet it's maybe 10% of their market compared to the rest of the world, you know. And Ubiquity's just like that too. I mean, Ubiquity has a good foothold in the U.S., but it's a small market compared to Indonesia, compared to China, compared to those types of areas that there is no infrastructure in. Therefore, everything's over there, the links. So,
right, it's all new infrastructure, and
right.
It's cheaper for them to put up wireless than it is to lay fiber in most cases.
Exactly, and that's really the big thing that we have here, is that we have to sit there and look at that and go, you know, where are we at? I mean, the Microtech is getting ready to have a MUM in Italy. I believe it's next week. Yeah, it's next week, and they've registered almost 1,800 people. Okay, as big as one of our Wispapaloozas, they've registered that many people. Now, how many people attend? I'm not going to sit there and tell you that, you know, that many people is going to attend, but I bet you there's going to be 1,200, 1,300 people there, and that's a big event. That is probably one of their largest. That's their largest European MUM anyway. And in those particular cases, those MUMs are very well attended. You go down to Indonesia, they actually broadcast the dang thing live on TV. At the Indonesia MUM, because that's how many people are there.
Wow.
So, yeah, there you go.
Good stuff.
Yep.
So, anything else to talk about, WISP America? Sounds like it was a well-attended show. Kind of cold, but you guys got through it.
Yeah, it was definitely cold. I mean, we got down there.
How about the venue? Was it a good place to have the show? Memphis?
You know, Memphis was fine. The hotel was okay. I'm not going to say it was awesome. I doubt that we will go back there ever again. How's that? Various issues arose in the back end, where not with the show, but various issues arose, and we dealt with them as it came. But overall, it should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I would highly doubt that we would go back there again. It's kind of difficult now because we had 820 members attend. So with that number of attendance, we actually have quite a few people that did not get to. We actually have to have enough space for that number of people, and that's really difficult whenever you have that many people. So one of the issues that we got is we have to actually basically rent a convention center. That's what we had to do this time. So we have to have a hotel with a convention center attached so that we can actually get enough people or enough space to do the event. And that's going to be always a difficult task, but hopefully we'll work it out.
Yeah, if it continues to grow like that, I see what you're saying. You want to have all the attendees in the hotel so they're not having to drive or park.
Well, in the hotel,
to get to the convention.
Well, in the hotel is not necessarily the key, but the big thing is you have to have space for them to be at the convention. So
it's kind of tight, huh?
Right. Well, whenever we went to St. Louis and Little Rock and all that was inside the hotel facilities. Okay, inside the convention center of the hotel. Now we are actually looking at actual convention center that's attached to the hotel. So now you have convention center fees, all kinds of stuff, and it's fine for what most people want, but it's not. It is difficult to find those places that can support basically 900 people coming in there, and you have to have the room nights, you have to have the event space, all that kind of good stuff. So it all matters.
You'd figure they'd be really accommodating, bringing that kind of.
Well, I'm not saying that they're not accommodating. I'm just saying that it's difficult to find space in a hotel that is close to an airport, that people can get to, that people can drive to, that people can actually attend. So it is what it is. Right. So with that said, there you go.
So WISP Palooza coming up in October. You got the date of that handy?
I can get it.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I can get it. That's not a problem.
Mid-October.
Yeah. Let's see here. So we have WISP Palooza coming up in October 9th through the 13th. So it's basically the second week of October. I believe they have not started making any decisions on that yet, but the agenda committee is already working hard and feverishly on that. I do know that, so that's a really good thing. As I turn up my mic volume a little bit, so that's really good as well. But overall, I think we'll be good, and there's already quite a few exhibitors as well already there.
Right, exactly. Hopefully, with some new whiz-bang products out there to look at.
Well, that's usually when people like to release new products is at WISPapalooza, and that's perfectly fine. There's not a problem with that. I'm just mentioning that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, if you got anything else, I think we could wrap up the show. I'm remiss in not being able to go to the WISP America, but heard there was a lot of good things, and you've accentuated them. Particularly with what's going on with the new FCC, with our new WISPA-friendly Commissioner Pai.
Right. And, overall, I think we'll be probably pretty good. It's just time-consuming to get all the legislation done. And, we'll get there. However,
you don't turn a major ship around on a dime.
Right. However, another topic that we wanted to discuss with everybody, and if anybody wishes to email sales at ispradio.com and give us some feedback, while we do typically the show live, this time we're not, because guess what? We had a streaming error, and it was time, and I did not get a chance to look up the error yet. we were also thinking about just releasing the shows about the same time every week, but actually doing an offline recording, so where people cannot ask questions, things like that. Is that something that you would like to see or not? Email us at sales@ispradio.com for that.
Right. It gives us the ability to get in special guests, like we had Commissioner Pye on at one time on a Thursday or a Friday when he was available. And
Right.
we recorded that, and I think you guys listened to it pretty extensively. But it gives us some flexibility, I guess is what Dennis is saying.
Right, and that's really the big thing, is it gives us the ability to sit there and produce a show accordingly to the standards, or it gives us the ability to produce a show, record it, and then we can edit it and trim it out as needed, and then go from there.
Yeah, so if that's of interest to you guys, please let us know, because this show's driven by you.
Yeah, yep. So with that said, Steve, I think we're good. I don't have anything else.
All righty, well, we'll talk to you next week. Everyone, have a good week.
Thank you for listening to ISP Radio. We hope you've gained new insights and additional wisdom in our industry as well as your business. Please remember to visit our show sponsors via the links on ispradio.com. If you're interested in becoming a show sponsor, contact us at sales@ispradio.com. Now go out there and push those packets as fast as you can. Good luck and Godspeed.